876. 87654. Did I fuck up? I don't know.
And 1, 2, 3, and go.
Hey y'all, this is Dashani and
Akeem.
and we're back with our 4th episode of
Trauma bonding. Say it together, damn.
Oh, we say it together. You be feeling it, so okay, and we are back with our 4th episode of Trauma Bonding.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, so how are you feeling?
Good. He gave me a Ricola. I needed that.
She was
Yo, cause I got sick from somebody.
Yeah, who did you get sick from?
A
Who did you get sick from?
love interest.
Oh, is this love interest gonna be permanent?
Mm.
Is it gonna be in the next season?
Better be. I am tired of people. I for real am. If this is not a thing, I'm not getting in a relationship again anytime soon. I promise. It's not. How do I say this? I barely kind of wanted to because I don't want to get trapped into a bad situation with with somebody. But at the same time, it's like I need to break away from letting past experiences deflect. You know.
The thing with me is I don't want to be wasting my time.
I
don't
don't
want to be
either.
wasting my time, my money, my resources, my upliftment on somebody is just gonna be here for a temporary season.
Right, you better go find you a temporary thought to go play with.
After a certain type of age, age, we gotta be locked in.
Yeah.
I may sound crazy.
Not even that, but like you would think people would want to get to a certain point in life where they want to have a partner so that they can build together and have money and have a like just have life. But maybe that's just
that's just me.
Yeah, maybe that's just us.
Maybe that again. I used to be like I'm very passionate about this thing because again I'm going through something right now. So it's just like kind of just like with somebody, it's just like I don't know. They don't know exactly what they want or where they want to be. And again, this is no judgment to you or what you're going through, but it's just like for me, I just feel like I know what I want. Right. I know what I wanted, and it's just like there was no hesitation of what I want, right, or like where I see us going, and I didn't see myself like again because I was just like I was like that's why in this relationship I give more than I ever give. I broke all those like weird barriers down of like, oh, I'm not gonna open up. I'm not gonna be this transparent person about my feeling. I communicate, and I communicate more than I ever did in any relationship. I communicate in terms of like, I tell you how I'm feeling. This is affecting me. It's something thing, and it's like I feel, and then coming down to it, realizing that they actually wasn't communicating with me, and it's just like there was things that were bothering you, and you did not nip it in the bud, or like you let it fast in your mind. Again, and that's why communication is so important, because you don't know exactly what a person means, and then you need to gain clarity of like, hey, excuse me, but you said something that kind of bothered me. Did you mean it this way? Right. Instead of letting that situation turn into something that is just like weird and whereby you're like, oh my god, maybe somebody tell you something and it's just like, oh, maybe this person just overanalyze it to the point of like, I hate this person. I can't stand this person because this person hurt my feelings. But you never let this person know that they hurt your feelings or what is actually going on in your head. And maybe you put things like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. And it's like, you are giving that person an injustice to even explain their side of the situation because you already come up with your own ideas, your own thing, just because you didn't want to communicate. Just because you didn't feel like your voice was worthy enough to talk, have a sit down conversation as grown adults. Right. Grown adult, you should be able to voice your opinion with no shame, no no fear of like, oh, what this person gonna feel if I said this, or this person gonna feel like if I said this. You gotta be, again. It took me a lot to be that person that is just like an open communicator. But it's again, there are times that I know that I'm not gonna say something because I know I'm gonna say too much, and it's like when I say too much, people take it too far, especially it's like in a work situation. It's just like I feel like I can't. I gotta think. That's why it's just like there's different communication level based on like in a relationship versus like thing. Because sometimes you don't know how that person is gonna handle your like being too honest or being too communicative. So it's like I gotta reel back sometimes. But it's just like when I was in a relationship, I wanna have so much transparency to the point that just like you know how I'm feeling, you know how I feel about you. There's no hesitation of like, oh, this is not. I don't know how you feel about the situation or if because I already voiced my opinion. I was either comfortable or didn't like it. I'm gonna say it right there and then. I'm never gonna wait. Oh, something that you did 2 weeks ago. No, because that you let that foster become this negative cancer in your mind by keeping that thing in. Yeah. And you see this person as this no terrible thing that is just like ridiculous. I don't know if you hear people outside as much as I am here. Just a little bit. That's weird. But anyways, again with the communication. What is your views? My view on communication? Um, when I think communication, so I like how you explained it with like relationships, and it can go literally for like relationships, friendships, family. Yeah. Work. Yeah. So mine was in a work aspect more. Because family, I can be more comfortable with them and be like, nah, I don't like this, or you know. But when I found myself in a work position, usually I wouldn't say too much just because I was trying to maintain a level of professionalism. Yeah, like or like so I didn't seem like how do I say it? I was one of those people that let me not complain. Let me not complain. If I don't complain, I won't make an issue. But I don't feel comfortable about this. But I'm not gonna complain about it. And it's like as time got older, or like as time kept going and I got older, I felt like I'm not gonna keep letting people step all over me. And so I would always repeat to myself, closed mouths don't get fed, closed mouths don't get fed. And I swear I repeated that for like a good few months to myself. And I had those moments too. And the best way to grow out of something is like realizing what it is, falling into that negative sense and being like, no, like switch it quick. Exactly. Switch it quick and be like, no, you can't think about it like that. Like, so yeah, that's how I changed it. Again, I don't know how you were growing up in terms of communication. I was a very shy child. Well, so I was always afraid to share my opinion. I felt like my opinion would never matter. But I realized that that's why it's just like, no, I'm gonna just. Sometimes I feel like when I get into the job, I'm kind of like a little hesitant at first because I don't want to come off like too much. You don't want to be doing too much. So it's just like I kind of gauge a time where I'm gonna speak up a little bit, but I always do, regardless of what. Again, because people's gonna take advantage if you just gonna be that person that never really say like, how you feel. Right. You never really truly communicate how you actually feel. So it's just like it puts you in this weird position. And I feel like working at the airport. Oh yeah, we work for big corporations that move fast. It forces you. Yeah, it forces you. It put you in a uncomfortable situation. Because when I was working on the thing of like being on the intercom, hey, we should get I was very, I was just like, damn, I don't want to do this, and it's just like it forces you to need to be in contact with people even more to communicate. And it really builds your confidence. Like, right. At first it's just like kind of, and then after a while it was like, every day it's like to the point that everybody became like the same for me. I wasn't. I felt like I was seeing the same people every single day because
Right.
it's like people don't realize that the world is so small and like things just like people like to think they're so special, but you're just a minor itsy bitsy speck in the universe that is just like there's somebody that acts and behave exactly like you. You're not. I don't want to be like you're not special exactly because I'm
No,
not.
the world don't revolve around you. Dead ass.
It's like some people used to come with some entitlement, like don't know to communicate with you again, and everybody's like, "Ma, I missed my flight. Put me on the next flight." And I'm like, "Oh,
You act entitled. I hate people who act entitled.
entitled, man. That's that is just it does something. Like disgust, like to see people acting entitled, and it's like most time it's the marshmallow persons, and then sometimes it's just like when it's your own, it's like
Oh, when it's my own kind acting up, I be like, who raised you?
like legit.
Do you know yourself?
And it's just like to be like half so when your own kind became racist against you, like, oh, you don't know your like it's a whole different vibe because it's like I used to get accustomed to marshmallow people like acting out and doing their own type of thing. So it's just like when that one black brother come up to you and doing too much out because it's like, no, you miss your flight. Going off with F and S and all the different curse words that you could think about. And I'm like, really? What is this? It's like you missed your flight. I didn't close the door early. I didn't do anything, but you choose to communicate in hostility and expect me to help you. And it's just again, you can't. You gotta know to communicate. Again,
right. It's not about what you say; it's about how you say it.
Exactly. Again, communication, and you have to know how to communicate every single thing, different parts of your life, and just like you can't just go all crazy up to people. There are times that you need to do that. There's times that you need to be approachable, and you need to figure out what time it is at that specific point, and how you're going to communicate verbally, uh, physically. Nice. Again, so many different forms of communication. So it's just like you choosing to be out of pocket in that moment is in the service industry, you're not gonna receive nothing positive. Again, I would never. I don't know what people expect you to be like, and I'm gonna be sure. Hell no. You need to leave. You need to leave. You need to get the fuck out of here. You don't have to stay here, but don't be in front of me.
Right.
You don't have to leave, but don't be in front of me. And people gotta realize that don't be entitled. That's the moral story. Don't be entitled. If you have any like examples of people being entitled?
Sorry, I had to chew that. Yes, I worked. My very first job was fast food. Yeah. I saw a Karen come up there yelling about a combo meal. I said, "Oh, this is what life has come to. We yelling at Wendy's? Ain't no way. Ain't no way." I ran into a lot of people. Okay, I worked in the rural areas where you have people of my color. Sometimes they act out like I don't have to accommodate to you.
No, you don't. Again,
I can dismiss you.
Yeah, and people don't realize that. And just like I be seeing videos of people acting out in like fast food places, and I'm like, over too much ketchup, over mustard, over not having something. I'm like,
people's priorities don't be right, but it's because it's something in that family home. Let's talk about that communication in family homes. Yeah. So
that's deep.
Yeah. Ugh. So the reason why, well, I ain't gonna say. I'll say this. My mom wasn't really emotionally vulnerable when I was a kid, so I kind of grew up being like, don't hug me, don't touch me. you doing too much. You too loud. You know, just being annoyed by everything. But it's because I feel like that's how I don't know. I don't know if my mom had just had a lot on her plate at that point in time, but I feel like communication is such a big part of something that I didn't really have, and because she was such a like no, don't do this or do that. Like she was always like something annoyed her all the time. So it was like, dang, well, how can I go to you about certain things if I feel like you finna be defensive about everything? Mm-hmm. So I ain't gonna lie, I had a people pleasing phase when I was like in high school and I was younger than that and stuff like that.
I can see that again. Yeah. My family communication skills were pretty interesting. Uh, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but just like I didn't grow up like hearing certain things of like, oh, like meaningful, like, oh, I love you. It would, and every time you'd say it, it felt like kind of like
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shouldn't feel like that. Like, I don't know if this is just a people of color thing. Like, what?
This is like, oh, I love you. And I was just like, I don't know how to respond. Like, honestly, guys, it's like, the older I get, I feel like me being away from home, it forced more of that I love you over the phone. Yeah. So it became this like, now it's become normal, but the first time it was just like kind of like, yeah, I love you too. Yeah. But it was just like new and different. It just like, it was more like the way they would show love would be like, oh, like, oh, is that like more like a criticism type of way of like mocking way, like, oh, your far look big, even though you just had a haircut or something. Yeah. It's just like something to just.
My family's sarcastic too.
Very.
Talk shit and be cool. But sometimes talking shit can make me feel like shit because you ain't had to go that far.
Yeah. I feel like I grew up with that type, very similar type of family, like just talking shit to each other, and just like I so want to be doing the same thing because it's like, again, I feel like the entire Caribbean, that's how we bond with each other. Mm-hmm. It's just by roasting each other. Honestly, right. Just roasting. Like, oh, you think you're the shit? Mm-hmm. No, you're not. And it's just not like even a fart. Used to. I just was thinking about that.
Yes, that should be in my head, y'all. I don't know why. I don't even listen to Ice Spice, but I be like, think you this shit? You're not even a fart. And I be laughing because I'm like, damn, you're not caca, and you're not a fart. Like, you nothing. Oh, that's tough.
Jesus. She had too much poop in her songs, but that's.
She's too, different.
A lot of scat plays seems to be going on. But anyways, allegedly. But
allegedly.
She not gonna sue me for shit.
Right. Oh heck no. This is alleged.
Yeah, we don't know anything about you. This poopy girl. Anyways,
Oh, he dissed the Capricorn. Ooh, Capricorns. Ooh, I wouldn't do that. It's like, nah, I don't care.
What are you gonna say?
I mean, you kind of drug it. I thought that shit was funny. But yeah. You. Bye, Akeem. Bye. Anyways.
I need to.
I am so weak. He's weak right now.
I'm trying.
Okay. You're laughing so, I don't know. It's like you stop breathing for a minute in the middle of laughing.
I'm trying to stop so I can't give my true laughter in the mic. Okay. So I have to be like.
I'm weak, Akeem.
I want to scream so bad. I'm sorry. Oh God. Anyways, communication.
Yeah. Communication.
Do you think you're pretty good at communicating?
Yes. Now, I feel like nowadays I am.
Before he wasn't?
No. I even felt like this has been a recent growth from the middle to the end of last year.
Okay. So how did you get to that growth?
My relationship.
Ooh.
My miserable ex.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was a lot of me assuming certain things, or like, I feel like that person also didn't really tell me exactly how they felt. Like, I feel like they did, but then they didn't. Like, they hid stuff. So that's another thing. When you don't feel like you can be vulnerable with somebody, that should tell you something. Or like, if you feel like you're trying to like please them, or like, I don't know, but I feel like maybe I wasn't the one doing a lot of communicating, because even sometimes when I would get mad, he'd ask like what's wrong, but I like to, when I get mad, it's like, don't talk to me, like leave me alone for like the rest of the night or something. Yeah. So, because I felt like, how do I say this? I felt like at the moment, me just not entertaining it was gonna let it subside, because I'll wake up the next morning and be like, whatever, because I'm not tripping off of it. But little did I maybe understand how much that could have affected that person, because you don't know what they're thinking, like, wow, does she like love me, or da, 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 da. But it's because I just would be like, whatever, like, I'm mad, leave me alone. So I felt like, I ain't gonna lie, I have some faults in the stuff that I've done. So that's one of mine. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna say this person was like the worst person ever. No. But definitely woke my eyes up to, like, I hope I find another person who has gentlemanism to them, like, or like can ask, like, just, there are certain things that they did do that I liked. But I was like, the next time around, when I'm going to find my actual person, like, I'm gonna make sure they have all their ducks in a row. They know how to communicate. I'm vulnerable, because I felt like I wasn't that vulnerable. And I also felt like I wasn't that vulnerable because I couldn't look at him as a man, though. Oh. Yeah. Oh. That's interesting. It just went. Yeah. But yes. Okay. I felt like I had to low key were the big draws in the relationship too.
So how did you get to like end up being more communicative, or like?
So that's the thing. I didn't end up being more. I mean, I did, but it was in a more this how do I say it? What's that word? I was being more detrimental to the situation than anything. Um, Instead of being straightforward and being calm about, you made me feel this way. When it got to a certain place, because like I said, I couldn't feel comfortable. He wasn't giving me like a man. Like, I didn't feel protected. I didn't feel taken care of. I felt like I also had to do it for myself and us. So it made me like throw it in his face. Okay. That also made me think about how I was communicating. Like, that's not how you communicate. Even if that person put you through things, there's a certain way you can go about it.
Interesting.
So I was trying to cause. How do I say this? This person didn't care. I felt like they didn't care about actions. I feel like they cared about words. Oh. So I will find certain things to say to trigger that person.
I got you. Yeah. I feel in like, again, my journey for being communicative, I just realized that it was like nobody was fully being honest, or like letting people know more. I was just like, everybody was expecting you to read minds, and I was like, this is not productive. I expect people to know how I was feeling.
Me too.
Or how they expect me to feel, and I just like realized, how could they know if I never tell them? Yeah. But it's just like, I would just be so upset. It's like, but you're supposed to know me.
Yeah, I'm like, ain't that supposed to be common sense? Like, and sometimes it's not. Yeah.
It legit is not. And that's a weird. We get so comfortable with people that we think that, oh, they're supposed to pick up on every single thing, that because we pick up on people and how, like, the actions.
Yeah.
So it's just like we expect people to do the same, but that's not how it actually is. And that's why I vowed to be so communicative, because it's like, if you think about it, communication is the only reason why people get out of relationship, because we're not communicating. Like,
right.
Like, be honest. It's just like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want. I do. We don't do that. We put up this old, like, first we maybe pretend or give that person what they want because you don't want to hurt their feelings. But it's like you thinking not communication, your actual motives,
right,
is not gonna be
reciprocated
properly. Thank you, my dumb accent. But reciprocated properly is just like you don't lie. You live in this weird lie, and you just like your needs are not being met because you never let them know. So it's just like now that relationship is already fractured from you not communicating your needs. Because
right,
you're gonna eventually get fed up, and because your needs not being met because you never communicated.
Right.
And then another person.
Not even that, but by you not communicating, you probably would have found out way sooner that that wasn't the person
for you.
Yeah.
But you just decided to stay in that situation instead of communicating, like, yeah, this is not for me, and more and more. And now that person on the other hand is now in this weird, like, oh my god, did I do something? Because you know to yourself, like, yeah, I can't do this no longer. You never communicate this, and now that person is just like feeling like this is, you just suddenly just think, and now you bring up all these issues, and now it's just like, why do you not say this?
Right.
Why you never say that? Why? It's just like, how these issues don't sound like new issues. These issues
sound like it was building up.
Yes, I mean, if you build up,
and that's what it be.
Again, if you just communicate how you feel, and from the instance of you feeling disgust or like thing, it would stop that whole like weird thing of you being the villain now to that person, because it's like
true.
You just suddenly coming up. It just after a while, I just feel like if the issues are just now coming up, I was like, why are they not coming up? It's weird because you never brought it up, and now you bring it up. It's just like you blindsiding that person and putting that person in a weird position. And I was just like, all of a sudden, it's like it make them think, was there ever a good time?
Right, like
was there ever
when were you tired of me?
Exactly.
Because at a certain point, when this person don't communicate, they drive themselves away from you.
Yeah.
And half the time, it don't even be that person's fault because they didn't know.
Exactly. You didn't give the person a chance to even work on themselves.
Chance. You didn't even give them a chance.
So it's just like,
yeah,
there's so much communicate, and it's just like I was such a big advocate to like communication. I'm always just like open, like open mic for any type of thing, because it's like I know how I felt when I wasn't communicating, and I always like had this like I was just doing living in a situation or being in a situation that I know I wasn't comfortable with, and how much I hated that person, but I just didn't want to tell them, and it just boiled over, and I just was like, yeah, you do this way, you do it is, and then like you did that, and then you did this, and then you did it, and it's just like the person was like, why would you not bring this up? You had every opportunity to bring it up. Why now?
Right.
Why now? It's just like, no, it seemed like you were just like a burden. I was a burden to you all this point at the entire point. And I was just like, you're right. I was more concerned of like how was it gonna come over, or more concerned of like I didn't want to come off like I'm being mean or being like I was so afraid to actually let that person know how I actually truly feel, because I was just like, that's not something nice you should tell somebody. They should know. Yeah. They're supposed to know, or like that's not how I would ever do it. Right. And I feel like, oh, that's common sense. You're supposed to know. And instead of just like letting that person know, it's just like doing this service not only to yourself but to that person.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of females do this as well. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like from our men, we expect them to know what we want from them, or like we expect from them But half the time we don't communicate that just because you, like, they're a man. I expect them to do this and that. But it's like, what kind of man did you connect with? Because not every man is the same.
Yeah. Again, communication.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, let's talk about men who can't communicate. I was about to say. Some of the men that were raised by terrible mothers.
Damn.
The ones that got mama issues.
My mama issues.
Mama issues.
My mama issues. But we could talk about that another time.
I'm weak. Ooh, okay.
Again, I feel like we should just.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to have a what's it called? A segment on mommy and daddy issues.
Yes,
so we'll save that.
We save that for mommy and daddy issues. So again, this is trauma bonding.
Yeah. With Dashani and
Akeem.
And
well, peace. Have a good night.
Was I supposed to say it back? Have a good night, y'all. Have a good night, Akeem.